They had a certain something.
Her dad was a little more than the average guy. And Lisa was a little more than the average kid.
Not only did she have a voice, but it was different.
Sacrifice myself to you.
They chased one goal relentlessly.
She's had her eye on the mountain, and she's never given up.
Through struggles.
Lisa watched us take him down the steps and put him in the ambulance.
Lisa said, "My daddy's dead, my daddy's dead."
And setbacks.
Not only did he break her heart, he also cracked her soul.
Some people are just driven. A child celebrity's defiant pursuit of superstardom.
She just didn't want to do what others thought she should do. She did what she wanted to do.
She's a total rebel.
Never before seen images, stories, and revelations from the people who know what really happened.
She involved herself with a wrong crowd. She tried certain things, substances.
It's very difficult to live your life under such scrutiny.
Because they lived it with her.
She grew up in the absolute pressure cooker.
Even if she wasn't Elvis Presley's child, this is what she was born to do.
This is Driven. Lisa Marie Presley.
Lisa was born February 1st, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Baptist Hospital there.
It was an anticipated birth, and it was a big deal.
Her dad was a little more than the average guy.
Elvis was just so excited and overwhelmed. He was like a typical father, handing out cigars to people.
Seeing Elvis as a father the first time, what really impressed me was he seemed natural holding the baby.
We couldn't believe that we had a child. She was so tiny to us, you know, an angel.
Elvis loved Lisa. Lisa was Elvis's heart. It was the center of his joy.
You could tell by the look on his face that he adored her. And you could tell that she adored him.
Elvis would spoil her, you know, in a good way.
Dads showed their affection through presents.
He bought her little mink coats, he'd buy her diamond rings and little jewelry and stuff like that, anything she wanted.
They had this really magical relationship, and they spent a lot of time together. They were very close. Lisa has a lot of her father in her. She just had this innate thing about music.
When she was 3 years old, I bought her a record player.
A big red record player that she constantly would play.
One of the songs that she loved was Sweet Caroline. Another was Polk Salad Annie. Both these songs Elvis did on stage.
And she would just listen, sometimes to the same record over and over and over again.
She'd have stacks of 45s, and she was like a little DJ.
Lisa saw a lot of concerts with her father. You know, he brought her on tour from time to time. She would go to Vegas. Her mother would bring her.
When we went to Vegas, we would, you know, go all out, and I designed mother-daughter outfits for her and myself. And we had the same booth we would go and sit in each time.
A fortune won and lost on every deal.
They'd have the spotlight on her, and she'd be waving to everybody. That had to be awesome, to be in a room with 15,000 people, and they're all looking at your father.
Elvis would sing songs to Lisa Marie, and she was just thrilled to death. She loved seeing her dad on stage.
He would many times introduce her to the audience.
Now, show my little daughter, Lisa. Look at her jump up.
And you know what? She liked it.
She liked seeing her dad perform, but I don't believe Lisa really realized the impact that Elvis had on the audience, or the impact that she had on the audience.
There's nothing left to do but go our separate ways.
Being on the road was very exciting for all of us, and we would take our wives and family from time to time, but that doesn't work on the road.
One of the hard things Priscilla was having was this rock and roll life.
And it wasn't like Elvis was going to the office every day.
And Elvis traveled so much when they were married.
We just got caught up in the temptations that can happen in that lifestyle.
Priscilla was outgrowing the lifestyle that she had with Elvis. And that's when Priscilla told us that they'd be separating.
There was truly still a love between Elvis and Priscilla. That was always shown around Lisa.
She never really felt a major impact of a divorce. We both still cared for each other. We tried to make it a transition that she would never really feel.
When Lisa was around 5, Priscilla moved to Los Angeles.
Priscilla kept her life at home normal.
Priscilla was being real strict and, no, you can't have this and that, and Elvis would never say no to her.
When Lisa would go to Memphis, obviously it was a different story.
Long distance information, give me Memphis, Tennessee.
Graceland was a little more than the average house. And Lisa was a little more of the average kid in what she could do.
It was almost like being on vacation. We played together, we laughed together, and she seemed to know, okay, here's where I can stay up late. I don't have to eat my peas if I don't really want to.
She rode around Graceland in a golf cart like a bat out of hell.
And she would just race around like you would not believe.
When Elvis was asleep, she could run Graceland.
Elvis was up all night and slept all day.
There was a lot of, she didn't like something, I'm going to tell my daddy.
She knew he had a little power, but she didn't know how much.
During the times that Lisa would go visit Elvis, it was a whole nother world. And then she would come back to Los Angeles, and it would be like a punishment.
I would buckle her down and just say, okay, now we have to get back to normal. You have a routine. We have school to go to.
She'd put on the uniform and have to go to bed at a certain time.
She did not like that at all, but, you know, it was just something that had to be done. There was no question.
Lisa liked to be alone in her room a lot.
When she was alone, listening to music, she would write things.
She was always listening and absorbing, observing, and then all of a sudden, her expression would come out in the different writings she would be doing.
I would find writings in her room.
Writing became her expression. If she was worried about something, there'd be little notes.
She would write pretty deep stuff sometimes, what she wanted, which was that her parents would always be there.
August 16th, 1977. We were getting ready to leave on tour that day.
I was here in Los Angeles. Lisa was in Memphis, and in fact, she was supposed to come home that day.
I was supposed to wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's when a phone call came from upstairs. Elvis fainted in the bathroom. So I ran upstairs real quick, and then when I got there, I turned him over. He was laying face down, and I knew as soon as I touched him that he was dead. I looked over, and Lisa Marie was standing by the door. Lisa watched us take him down the steps and put him in the ambulance. I had to call Priscilla and tell her.
I get to the phone, and it's Joe that tells me that Elvis had died.
And naturally, she was devastated. She dropped the phone and couldn't believe it. And then she picked the phone up real quick and said, Joe, how's Lisa?
My first thought is, after getting all over the shock of it, was where Lisa was. And was she okay?
That was her main concern, what's happening with Lisa right now.
I was in Los Angeles, and my phone rang, and she said, it's Lisa. And she said, my daddy's dead, my daddy's dead. He's smothered in the carpet, he's dead, he died.
Lisa just went out and got on her golf cart and just drove around the grounds. She was trying to escape the reality of it.
She kind of went into her own world.
She was out biding time, just out there, just kind of staying out of the way.
And I thought at the time, how odd, because she didn't really show any signs of this affecting her. But then again, a child shows their grief in very different ways.
Once in a while, she'd be distracted, and it would seem that life would go on, and then she would come in, and then the reality would set in. Oh, yeah, my daddy's gone. 20 deep.
Some people saluting, some people waving, some people crying.
Lisa was very quiet, very, very quiet during the ceremony.
She was only 9 years old, and I think it's very difficult to grasp the permanence of death.
She just loved him very much, and obviously when he was gone, it was a huge void in her life.
In the middle of the pouring rain.
Next, Lisa Marie turns into a tabloid princess.
Every tabloid was filled with pictures, stories, not good. A lot of them very invasive.
It's very difficult to live your life under such scrutiny.
Then, the young teen rebels.
She involved herself with a wrong crowd. She tried certain things, substances.
She got into some trouble. Yeah.
After Elvis died, there was a lot of media attention on everything that we did, where we were.
The media was everywhere, like I had never seen before. I don't think the world had seen before.
The press is coming in and just they're showing up in your trash cans and they're showing up in the backyard and they're climbing over the fences.
There was a value to a picture of Priscilla. There was a value of a picture of Lisa. There was more or less a bounty on both their heads to get new pictures.
Every tabloid was filled with pictures, stories, a lot of them very invasive.
All the controversy over Elvis's death.
That it had to be drug-induced, overdose of sleeping pills, smothering, whatever.
It was in every newspaper. You couldn't go to the grocery store without seeing it.
She adored her father, and because of all the attention we were getting and all the stories that were out there, this would devastate a child.
Priscilla was talking with myself and my mother about what do we do, you know, now with Lisa.
I just felt that I had to get her away from the media.
And Priscilla thought, let's just get out of town. Let's just get out of the country.
My sister Michelle and I took Lisa and we went all over Europe just to get away from the media, get away from the attention, get away from everything.
We actually got away with it for about the first week. Then the paparazzi caught on. There's, you know, Priscilla and Lisa there in Europe. So we realized that we've got to think of a new plan here. So we went back, came back to the States, and then Lisa started school.
I put her in a private school, and she was having a hard time with it.
It was hard for her to make friends.
People around her perhaps treated her a little differently than they would have if she had been Jane Doe.
Kids in her school would look at her and say, that's Elvis Presley's daughter. And then all of a sudden, she's like an alien.
Kids say things, kids are cruel. Her situation was just amplified because of who she was.
Priscilla was always put in the position of, what do we do next? What's the best way to handle this for Lisa?
Priscilla was looking for a small school where Lisa could fit in and not be hounded by the other students.
In September of 1979, Lisa came in and started 5th grade at our school, Apple School, West Side.
This was a school that had probably 50 people in the entire school.
When Lisa first came, she was very shy.
It was very difficult for Lisa to trust people.
But after a very short time, she made friends.
She gravitated to the ones that weren't being her friends because of who her father was.
She was safe. She was with the kids, and she could just be herself.
We had a lot of music in common. I was into a lot of bands, and she was into music.
I just remember Lisa and Bodie Elfman and playing a lot of music.
I would come home at certain times of the day, and she'd be in her room. The music would be blaring. She was kind of lost, and maybe in her own world.
She would sit there and just listen. And Lisa said, you know, there's more to the song than just the words. I'm listening to everything that's going on.
There was this drive that I could see within her that was going toward music. She really created a world for herself, away from everybody else.
The press was always prying into her life. They couldn't just leave her alone.
You have to be mindful that there was always going to be somebody with the camera.
I remember several times kind of like myself and others kind of walking her to the car, but just kind of blocking so the camera couldn't take a picture of her.
There were instances where they chased her, which was, you know, how sad was that?
It's very difficult to live your life under such scrutiny and under such expectations.
It can be tough for a kid who has a lot on their mind. Lisa started rebelling a little bit because of that.
She's trying to find out who she is. She knows she's Elvis's daughter. But who am I?
I swear to God, the day she was 13 years old, that was it. She was not my daughter. She was another person. It was almost like she woke up and decided to be somebody else.
She just didn't want to do what others wanted her to do or what others thought she should do. She did what she wanted to do.
She involved herself with a wrong crowd. She tried certain things, substances.
She got into some trouble. Yeah.
I mean, she wanted to go out in the world and play a little.
She had a couple of little friends who were doing more serious drugs and who were supplying them to her because she couldn't just walk out and get them herself.
It was rough. She was, you know, a typical teenager, there's no doubt. And that's hard for a mom.
Priscilla knew she had to put her foot down and take her out of school and put her in somewhere that was more strict.
Priscilla found a school that was pretty well acceptable to Lisa to go to, and it was good because it was a boarding school.
So she sent her to Happy Valley School, which was up in the Ojai Valley.
It was just about 2 hours from LA.
Not too far away, but far enough away.
She was real resistant at first.
She was kind of quiet. She had to take her time kind of getting used to everybody at school.
Once it was established, you're here for the year, Lisa actually rose to the occasion and started enjoying it, especially in the arts.
Everyone in the school was somehow involved in performing arts. And we were down in the music studio, and we were just playing around with the instruments. Lisa picked up the microphone, and she just belted out the words to a song, just out of the blue, just like that. And then she put down the microphone and giggled and walked away. And I was like, that girl has talent. She's going to make it big.
The school there really tapped into a lot of what Lisa was really about and helped her evolve. But she really never got away from friends that were doing drugs or just the environment of drugs.
Lisa Marie was just trying to express herself more, and her mom was still trying to keep a leash on her and kind of trying to control her, and she didn't want to be controlled.
She's away from home, so she's going to try it all out and see what she can get away with. It was totally unacceptable, especially with Elvis's history. There was no way that Priscilla was going to let Lisa go down that road.
Next, Lisa Marie faces her legacy.
My big fear was that she would sing and wouldn't have a voice. This town could be very cruel. There are no second chances.
And later, Michael Jackson sets his sights on the king's daughter.
There was something that she had that he wanted.
When Lisa was away at boarding school, the mission wasn't really accomplished because it wasn't the safe environment that Priscilla was hoping it would be.
Drug-wise, it wasn't any better. The same thing was going on up there. She left school in mid-11th grade.
It was time to come back to LA, but then where does she go now? Because we're running out of options here. Priscilla had become familiar with the Scientology Celebrity Center and knew their policies on drugs. So Lisa moves into the Celebrity Center.
And then she met Danny Keough. And that's when I really saw a change in her.
Danny was a musician. It's just sort of in his blood.
He had a band. She attended all of his gigs. The attention really wasn't on her.
She was crazy about this bass player.
He wasn't pursuing Lisa. I think Lisa was really pursuing Danny.
It was probably the first person she met in the music industry that didn't care or wasn't after something else.
She really respected him and was inspired by him as a musician, and they just seemed perfect together.
They were really into playing music and hanging out with his friends.
Musicians and artists and actors that are going about their lives, having good experiences, just without the drugs.
It was the perfect group of friends for her to kind of like feel safe and comfortable. She wanted that interesting line where you can be a rebel and have fun and do your own thing and not conform. but not staying up all night, you know, doing coke.
It was the first time that Lisa could think, okay, I got that out of the way. I got that experience out of the way. I don't need to do that anymore.
She was interested in Danny, and she was interested in music.
They started writing together, and it was just the camaraderie that they had, the bond that they had with their music.
She became very expressive with her words and her feelings.
She started to blossom at that time.
It gave her a sense of herself again.
She could really now identify who she was, and she discovered that she was an artist.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just an artist.
Lisa was falling in love. Lisa was falling in love because she found her way into a world that maybe she never left, but that she really wanted to dive into.
One day in October 1988, Danny comes over and he just collapses on the couch and he said, "Lisa and I just got married."
They got married. Surprised everyone.
I was shocked and happy, really happy.
We ended up having this wonderful wedding reception about 6 months after they were married, and they redid their vows, and it was really charming. It was really sweet because it was like an old-fashioned wedding.
And then she became pregnant.
Later that summer, she had Danielle.
She was ecstatic, and she was amazing. She was devoted, and she was loving, as was Danny. They were both just doting parents.
It was the most important thing to her, you know, to have this baby. This love that maybe she hadn't experienced, you know, since she lost her dad.
It gave her like a real kind of stable unit that she could just create from, build a family, start a career.
Lisa and Danny bought a house in the West LA part of town.
Danny was able to build a little studio in there.
The dining room actually turned into a studio.
That's when they really started writing and putting it all together.
He'd play guitar, piano, and she would write, and they would put stuff down.
She really had a lot to say, a lot that she held in.
This was the seed for when music started to become really, really important in her life and really started to take a foundation of what she wanted to do with her life.
And one day I'm at the office. She calls me from the freeway and says, "I want to start a career, and I would like for you to manage me."
Before this time, Lisa never really performed or sang.
Being who she was, she didn't have the luxury of being able to play in some bar and nobody cared.
I always told her, if you're going to go out, you have to be prepared. You can't be experimenting and playing around.
Obviously, there was going to be this white-hot spotlight on her.
This town can be very cruel. There are no second chances or third chances. You have to be good first time around.
Lisa and Danny are working for about a year, writing, putting down tracks, and then we were ready to go in to a real studio and do a more sophisticated demo in order to take to the record companies. The first time an artist has those headphones on and hears themselves, it's scary. And it was really scary to Lisa.
She was very self-conscious about singing in front of anybody.
She would not have anybody in the control room except for Danny and the engineer. The first song that she recorded was a cover of Aretha Franklin, Baby I Love You.
Lisa calls one night to come over to the house because she wants to play her demo.
She would only play it to people one at a time. One person would go in and listen and come out.
She's kind of, you know, doing her disclaimer, you know, it's just a demo.
My big fear was that she would sing and wouldn't have a voice. She played the tape for me. I was blown away.
My God, she can sing. Oh God, great. It was such a relief to go. She's got a voice. She can really sing.
I was truly amazed.
Not only did she have a voice, but it was different. It was very unique. It wasn't sounding like her father.
So that's when I really realized that this child, this girl, really had a lot going on. She really had something to offer.
It was almost like, okay, anything can happen now.
They had meetings with major record labels.
This girl was talented, and I was going to the top people.
They went to New York, the two of them, and they met with Sony.
And everybody was all excited about this now.
We all think it's going to take off. You know, this is going to happen.
While we were in the negotiations, the final negotiations, we had gotten pretty much everything that we wanted. And she called me and said, Jerry, you don't want to hear this, but I'm pregnant, and I'm not going to go through with the deal.
She just said, I'm not doing this right now. And she didn't.
I know how important being a mother was to her. It was more important than a career.
It's pretty interesting that Lisa did that at that time, because most artists would just jump at any chance, any opportunity they had.
She just decided, I'm not ready for this. And in her style, she just put the whole music thing on hold.
I think it was a combination of her being pregnant. I also think that she was smart enough, even though she was good enough to be signed. I don't think she felt she was quite ready.
Next, the king of rock's daughter falls for the king of pop.
I just did not see Lisa falling in love with this guy.
It was just something out of left field.
But the fairy tale falls apart.
It was almost like she got in over her head.
I don't think that his intentions were pure. I think that he was very emotionally manipulative.
Log on to VH1.com to see rare photos of Lisa Marie Presley and check out early photos and footage of all Driven artists.
Lisa's second child, Benjamin Stormke, was born in October of 1992. And Lisa was ecstatic to be having another baby.
Consequently, she takes a break from working on music for Ben to get settled.
When Benjamin was about a year, that's when things started to pick up again. That was the year she turned 25, and she inherited Graceland.
The trust that was created by Elvis's will ceased to exist. Everything was turned over to her.
A lot of things happened to her that year. Her demo tape was still around. All of a sudden, people were calling her, like Prince was interested in her music. It was just sort of a buzz.
Lisa's lifestyle and who Lisa was started causing complications. Danny started getting a little uncomfortable of this life. The little house that they bought together was no longer suitable. Onlookers could look over the fence, so they moved into this gated community that was very generic. He had no choice in the matter to pick and choose where he could live or where he could go.
It was obviously a very strange time, a very troubled time for them.
Although there was such love there, I think that their common purpose changed.
Lisa came to our house one day, and she was saying that her and Danny were separating.
Essentially ended up being mutual, and they decided to go their own ways.
She made a decision, and he made a decision that it was better to just, be friends.
That's when the whole Michael Jackson era started. Michael arranged to meet with her, and he was interested in her music. And so they started, a friendship based on that. And then it totally changed into something else.
There was this flurry with Lisa and Michael, and they were spending more and more time together.
Michael courted her, and he was very charming and very convincing.
He flirted with her, and she flirted with him. They got to know each other. And there is a wonderful side to Michael, which is warm and engaging and loving and attentive. And she fell in love with him.
Lisa appreciated the fact that he cared about world hunger and healing the planet and taking care of children. And deep down inside, I think she was looking to do something like that for herself. The next thing we know, she's marrying Michael Jackson.
It was just something out of left field, because all of a sudden, boom, she was married.
I thought it was sort of an inquirer thing, sort of like fabrication or something like that.
I respect Michael with all of his talent, but I just did not see Lisa falling in love with this guy.
I felt that maybe on some subconscious level, Lisa was attempting to get to know her father a little better and what her father's life was like.
Being married to Michael Jackson was a full-time job for her. It was all-consuming.
All of a sudden, Lisa's surrounded by Michael's people. It was Michael's world.
She spent a lot of time really being a great wife to him, but she didn't work on her career so much around that period.
I don't necessarily believe that Michael wanted to help her achieve her goals.
She didn't do her music at all.
She put a lot of energy into him.
He's an amazing artist, yet there's, you know, an emptiness that he has, and I think she got pulled into that and felt like that she could help him, that she could understand him.
She had a real instinct to take care of him. Michael maybe had his hand in there for a different reason.
In my estimation, there was something that she had that he wanted. He wanted what Elvis is.
I always just got the impression his career came first above everything, and let's face it, it was good for his career, especially at the time.
Michael had a lot more to gain by the union than she did.
Please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Michael Jackson.
The MTV Music Awards in 1994, Michael and Lisa walked out.
All of a sudden, on stage, Michael looks very uncomfortable.
Just think, nobody thought this would last.
Michael and Lisa did the kiss.
Everybody went, what the hell was that? Even I think I went on TV and said that was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen.
I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and like, oh, he got another thing he wanted. That was my reaction to it.
Another day has gone.
Then we saw Michael's video, You Are Not Alone. And she called and told us I did this video and I'm not really wearing anything. It was just reinforcing my feelings of what was going on. I mean, it's like how it didn't help her. It definitely helped him. And as time went on, that's what kind of bothered me about it. She was being used.
I don't think that his intentions were pure. I think that he was very emotionally manipulative.
The whole pretext of her relationship with him was just unwinding. It was almost like she got in over her head.
She tried speaking to him. She tried reaching him.
Lisa was having less and less communication with Michael.
She was very hurt by his lack of commitment, his lack of involvement in the relationship.
Michael's mission was accomplished. He got married, proved that he could be a loving husband. They kissed on MTV. So he was ready to go on to whatever he needed to do. And Lisa wasn't going to fit into that.
The end of it was very rough, and she went through some really rough times, and I think saw some truth that she hadn't seen before.
When it all turned to really almost be kind of a sham, she just couldn't believe that she could be so deceived.
And when that marriage ended in dissolution, she was very distraught.
Because not only did he break her heart, he also cracked her soul.
After the divorce between Lisa and Michael, Lisa really went through so much emotionally, and even physically. She was even in the hospital for a little while.
Lisa got really sick after that.
That can be a serious wake-up call to who somebody is inside when you're really like looking in the mirror going, okay, let's get down to bare bones with who I am.
She had to start all over again.
She threw herself into her work.
She started writing again.
She started to hook up with those people that she originally hooked up with to create music.
Lisa called Danny and said, I got some things I want to say, and I think I'd like to put it down.
They had always stayed very close.
They set up in a garage, and they just started writing songs.
And then I hit the sky, and it fell out on me.
She wrote a lot of cathartic lyrics.
She wrote everything, just all of her feelings. She kind of purged.
You could see her life coming back.
August of 1997 was the 20th anniversary of Elvis's death, which we knew was going to be a big event.
Lisa was thinking, what can I do for the 20th anniversary of my father's death? Kind of a gift to him, but more like a tribute actually to the fans.
She called me and she said, I want to do a duet with my father.
Lisa approached my husband, David Foster. He had done the music for Natalie Cole when she did her duet with her father, Unforgettable. They chose the song Don't Cry Daddy. So David did a great vocal on her and juxtaposed it with her father's voice, and it was very moving. You know, there was that emotional kind of reaction to hearing him sing and hearing Lisa sing.
She got with the producer of the concert to do sort of a little music video to go along with the song, edited with her and her father.
It wasn't like a video that was released on television. It was really just for a lot of her dad's fans.
Priscilla introduced the video at the concert, and they played it.
Don't cry.
And the place just went nuts. I mean, like, it was deafening, like thunderous.
That night when they played it, the arena went crazy. It was a showstopper.
Everybody was in tears.
When the song was over and she came out on stage just to wave, I thought security was going to have problems. I thought there was going to be a riot. People, like, freaking out and screaming and yelling her name. I think she was truly touched with the effect that she created on these people.
It was an honor for me to be able to do this tonight. For him, thank you very much, really.
That's when I just knew. I was like, I don't know how long it's going to take, but the world's still going to find out. Lisa's really the real deal.
Please don't cry. Next, the spotlight is on Lisa Marie.
He wanted to be taken seriously and not be another pop princess.
But she has a tough act to follow.
When you have a father who's an absolute icon, you know you're going to get slaughtered by the press no matter what you do.
They might as well just tack her up on a cross.
After doing Don't Cry Daddy, David Foster suggested that she go for getting a recording contract.
He was like, it's now or never. You got to do this.
She was deciding, you know, who she wanted to work with.
Lisa's lawyer told her, I've got a guy that I want you to meet. His name's Glenn Ballard.
She actually did sign with Glenn Ballard on his label, which is Java Records. And at the time, it was with Capitol.
When Lisa first went in to start recording for her album, I'm sure she was nervous. Her emotions were running the gamut.
I knew the shoes that she had to follow. For any child to follow Elvis's shoes is not a, it could be a curse.
All the critics are waiting to accuse her of riding her father's coattails.
When you have a father who's an absolute icon, you know you're going to get compared, you know you're going to get slaughtered by the press no matter what you do. On some level, she can't succeed.
They might as well just tack her up on a cross.
She didn't want to draw on her father's fame.
Lisa wanted this record to be hers, her own sound.
She was really searching to find her voice, lyrically, musically, emotionally.
I heard a great voice in there, but I didn't really hear a musical direction.
She floundered a little in the beginning, and that necessitated going through a few producers.
She took advantage of those times to really figure out what style she wanted to really gravitate towards.
Her songs went through a great progression. There was talk of, would the record ever come out?
By the end of 2000, Lisa had easily an album's worth of songs, but I think that she was just not quite satisfied yet.
Lisa came to my office and she said, I really want to rock, and I want this record, you know, to have an edge to it, and I don't think I'm necessarily getting that edge.
She wanted to be taken seriously and not be another pop princess or something that everyone expected her to be.
The first time I heard the record, I thought the songwriting was great, her performance was great, but somehow the singer wasn't the most prominent thing. The record sounded confusing. It seemed like a lot of ideas had come together, and it needed some kind of editing.
And that's when the record got cut over. It got cut over again for the third time.
Eric Ross was able to really tap into her vision of what she really, really wanted.
As we started working together and she liked some of the music that was unfolding, keeping some dirt under the fingernails, keeping it raw, I just kind of saw her shoulders relax a little. The smiles were a little bit wider.
Lisa said, this is it. This is it. I want the whole album to be just like this.
I'd listen to these tracks and go, oh my God, this is incredible. I knew that she'd found her style.
Lisa finally, in 2002, was going, we got an album. We got an album.
The album, To Whom It May Concern, is about her life and her experiences. It is sort of a walk through her mind.
These songs were written over the course of a lifetime, and they just came out after she found wings and a way to do it.
She has a lot of pain and other things inside of her, and it comes out in the music.
I think that she exercises a lot of demons on this record. If you really listen to the lyrics, you're really going to find out who Lisa Marie Presley is.
Lights Out was the first single from the record. It dealt with the issues of her life and how Memphis and Graceland played a role in her life. It was honest, good songwriting. But no one knew if the person who had sang Lights Out in the studio, in the vocal booth, could actually put it together and perform. That.
She's never really stepped up in the public eye as a recording artist rather than Lisa Marie Presley, the celebrity.
Lisa was starting to get a little nervous because the reality of everything that she might have to confront was starting to get close.
The first time she performed in front of an audience was in Florida for the NARM convention.
There was anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people for this.
It's record executives, people that work in the industry.
I'm looking at Lisa and I can see that, you know, she's never done this before. This is all brand new to her.
As soon as the curtain opened, Lisa stepped up to the front and nailed it.
It's like somebody turns on the light switch. She is a natural performer.
People at that performance saw her charisma. It was, wow, here's a star.
All of a sudden, she is just out there doing it.
She gets primetime television.
Please welcome Lisa Marie Presley.
That girl stepped up to the plate, swung the bat so hard. She knocked it out of the ballpark.
The record debuted at number 5, sold 142,000 copies. It was the highest debut of the year for a new female artist.
It smashes any preconceptions of anyone who doubted anything about it, but it also really outdoes any expectations, too.
Imagine now being Lisa Marie Presley and having lived your life in front of all the cameras of the world, and now coming out and singing about your inner life and putting it into an art form. That takes a lot of guts. It really does.
Lisa's doing a pretty phenomenal job of living up to being herself, in spite of who her father was.
Anything she did was going to be looked at and examined. She's lived in that world from the moment she was born. I don't think any of us can truly understand what she's been through.
She really wanted to prove something. Here's what I can do, and this is my music.
She's driven by wanting the world to see, this is me, that I'm not just Elvis's daughter.
She's had her eye on the mountain, and she's never given up.
It's been a long time coming, and I know what she's been through. I'm proud of her as a mother. I'm proud of her as an artist. I'm proud of what she's done with her life and the path that she's chosen. This is her love. Even if she wasn't Elvis Presley's child, this really is Lisa's path. This is what she was born to do.
Yeah, we're looking at you go, baby, go.